But let's first cross to Budapest. We can get more reaction with Armen Georgian. Armen, as we're speaking, 60.24% of the vote has been counted and 136 seats projected to go to Peter Magyar. It is as things stand. It could still change, but what does this mean? I mean, we've already seen Orban conceding defeat. He says it's a massive defeat and it ends 16 years in power.
I mean, this really is a bombshell. It's a political earthquake for Hungary and for Europe, Jean-Emile. I think we can't understate that. I mean, Orban was in power for 16 years, and now he has conceded defeat to his opponent, Peter Magyar. Frankly, a lot of people were not expecting this to happen, at least not so soon in the evening. And we now know exactly how this unfolded. Peter Magyar posting on Facebook that he had been called by Viktor Orban to concede defeat and to congratulate Magyar on his victory. Then we saw Prime Minister Orban addressing supporters at Fidesz headquarters, where he effectively confirmed that, saying, "We will serve our nation from opposition." He said the election result is clear, saying also, "We will never give up." So perhaps a slight hint that he might try a sort of Donald Trump-style return to power in 4 years' time. Obviously, that's just speculation from me. But you have to remember, Orban actually served one term, then was out of power, then came back into power. But this is a seismic shift, Jean-Emile, no doubt about that. The choice, as it was billed in this election campaign, was a choice between Hungary being firmly anchored in the European Union and the European project and the Western Alliance, or Hungary drifting further east and probably more problems and conflicts between Budapest and Brussels. So this is a massive change because Peter Magyar has promised to rehabilitate relations between Budapest and Brussels. Those have been fraught for many years. So this has absolutely huge implications. I mean, first of all, of course, for Hungarians that have very clearly voted for change, that message is unmistakable. And a lot of that comes down to what they want on domestic policy there. They want a change on the economy, where they've been suffering these, high food prices and inflation and so forth. They want a change in public services, healthcare, education, all those things. And clearly they do want a clear European future for their country. And just to come back a bit to what I said about to the concession that Orban made, I think he made it when it was clear that the chips were down, because if indeed 136 seats in Hungary's parliament for TISA are confirmed, that would actually give them a supermajority. That's really important, because what that would mean, and I stress this is still hypothetical, right? Because there's no final official seat count in the Hungarian parliament. It's a complex process of working it out. But if it's confirmed that they have 136 seats and that supermajority, they can do a lot. They can basically start undoing the things that Orban did when it comes to things like the Constitutional Council or his grip on the media, all kinds of other things. They can actually they would in that situation be able to reverse those things.
How quickly could that happen in theory?
Well, the contrast that people always draw with, or the comparison is with Poland, where this pro-European government of Donald Tusk came into power, won back power in a parliamentary election, but then was thwarted from carrying out those reforms that it promised. But in Poland, it's a slightly different situation. They have a so-called cohabitation with a conservative president. So it is objectively difficult there. Here in Hungary, though, it's a parliamentary system. So the prime minister can do a lot, as we've seen during Viktor Orban's 16 years in power. So I don't know how quickly they could do it, Jean-Emile, but the crucial point is that if they have the supermajority, they have the means to do it. Anything less, anything short of that, in the final seat tally in the parliament here would mean that those promised or that those hoped for reforms that teaser voters want and that the people voted for in this election, that they would then be much more difficult to achieve.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we'll keep an eye on it. Certainly, it all depends on what the final results actually are. We must stress only 60%, 60.24% have been voted so far, well, counted rather, and 136 seats as it stands for TISA.